She's video calling me. Hey, Tasneem.
Hi, Jen. How's it going?
So what's this call for? How are you doing?
Oh, I was just calling to say hi and see how you're doing.
Me too. I'm actually really thankful that I've had more time to craft recently. You know how it is. Sometimes things get so crazy and you just need to step away and take some time for yourself. So when you called, I was actually making a card.
Oh, nice. How's the new crafting space coming along?
Yeah, Dave and I moved into this apartment, as you remember, about 5 months ago, and I finally feel like I'm starting to get the craft room where I want it. Of course, it's not perfect, and you know me, I am not good when it comes to organization.
Oh, can you show me around?
Yeah, I'd love to show you around. Keep in mind, this isn't Nicole's space. If you want to see Nicole's amazingly organized space, definitely go check out her video that she did for our channel on YouTube. She is like the queen of organization. Me, however, I feel like mine is the total crafter mess. Maybe like the creative type person who isn't so good at organizing, but really enjoys to get messy with her supplies. So don't expect too much in the realm of organization, but I think you'll like it. I am so lucky to have such an amazing crafting space, and I can't wait to show it to you.
Oh, I'm sure it looks great. Can't wait to see it.
All right, I'll tour you around. So now that we're zoomed out, you're getting a little more of a backstage view of how things work here in my crafting space. My crafting space has to have multiple functions, and one of them is a recording studio because I do videos for YouTube, for social media, for different workshops and classes, and I need to have my filming set up. And for me, it just works out best if I have it set up all the time. So anytime I'm in my craft room, there are things everywhere. I have this apparatus, which I like to use for Facebook Live. It holds my phone. It has a ring light that I kind of tip down onto my project to help light up my desk, even if the lighting is bad that day. I only have one window up in the craft room, and it doesn't provide the most light. Really, not a lot of light comes in through this window. So I have to work a lot with unnatural lighting, unfortunately, but it does help to have a couple different light sources. So I do have a big lamp over there, which I'm sure you'll see sometime around this tour. I've got a ring light in front of me. That's a separate ring light than the one I use here for my Facebook Lives. And I forgot to mention the reason why I like this for the Facebook Lives is I can hook up my iPad into it. So that helps me scroll through comments as I'm filming, because my phone, which I usually film, or my computer with a webcam pointing downwards, sometimes it makes it hard to do both. So I like being able to read the comments on a separate device. So I've got that set up. I also have my microphone stand here, and it's in the frame right now, but when I'm filming, I'm always careful to try to get it just out of the view of the camera. I would like to update my recording audio at some point, so if you have any tips, Tasneem, definitely let me know, because I would love to get a new mic. So as far as my desk, this is actually the cleanest it's been in a while. Usually there are little pieces of tape and paper scraps everywhere and half-done projects and things all over the place, but I did recently tidy things up, so it's looking a little more presentable right now. And I also have some of my most used supplies and tools on my desk. So that includes my ink blending brushes, which I'll show you a little bit closer soon. I've got my paper trimmer. I have my Crafter's Essential Cutting and Alignment Mat. I've got my new favorite tool, which is, of course, the stamp wheel. And I've got my pens and some watercoloring supplies, and I have my white cardstock. These plus my black ink are always on my desk at all times. So on this side of the desk, you can see some of the other things that I have behind me, including all of this storage, which these are Billy bookcases from IKEA. The one in the middle right here is, I believe, from Target, And I keep everything white just so that it's easier for me to make sure everything goes together, because I buy them from different places and I want to make sure that it's all coordinated. My accent color is this lovely like tealish blue color, which you'll see in a couple places around the room, sometimes a little more bluish, sometimes a little more greenish, but I really do like that color. So I think that with the white really looks cool together. I also have this pillow, which Tasneem, you remember this. This was from one of our trade shows that we went to. It was in the booth and I asked you if I could have it, and I was so happy to take this home. So I've got this in here, which is really comfy and cozy on my chair. And I have this ink blending brush holder, which my husband actually built for me. He did it custom because of the unique shape of our large ink blending brushes. And it also stores the tiny brushes on top. So these are the angled detail brushes. And I also have storage for the mini blending brushes and the small ink blending brushes. So they're all here, very close for me to grab, so it's easy while I'm crafting. So Tasneem, this part is uniquely Jen. It's uniquely me because I do have a bunch of wigs and hats and heads up behind me. And as you know, I do a lot of cosplay and I make costumes, and I have a huge, at least in my opinion, a huge collection of wigs. And this is not all of them. These are the only ones that fit above in my storage of the craft room. But I have plenty more wigs, plenty more hats, and I'm running out of places to figure out how to store them. But right now they're up there, and it's fun because some of those hats I've either altered or created myself from scratch for different costumes. And you never know when a wig is handy. I have definitely worn wigs when it wasn't Halloween, when I wasn't at a convention, when I wasn't doing an event with a costume. I just like wigs. I like little fun hats. So they are there behind me. And also I'll give you some close-ups of some of the storage that I do have for my stamps and for my dies. And I like having everything behind me and open so it's easy to access. I had considered when I started buying supplies to organize my craft room of maybe having things in drawers, but I just know again how I work, and continually opening drawers and closing them wasn't really going to work for me. I wanted to have everything at my fingertips. So most of the supplies are out and seen and ready to be used. And this is not all of the stamps and supplies that I have. I own everything that Altenew has ever released. Yes, it's amazing. I have to be honest, it is so incredible, but no, I don't have any room to store everything. So I do rent out a storage unit, and that's where everything else goes. So if I need one of our older sets for a video or for a class or just for fun because I want to use it, we have to go into this storage room and get it from there. So it is a little less convenient than having everything up here, but honestly, I don't know how that would even be possible. And I have a nice large space, and I still don't think I'd be able to house every single stamp, die, stencil, embossing folder, etc., that we've ever released. So what you're seeing is a very small portion, but it's usually the newest stuff plus some of my old favorites. So I do have them both there. And then once some of the newer stuff becomes older stuff and I get a big box of brand new things, then more supplies go into storage. Yes, now we're on the floor. And I just wanted to come down here to show you some of the drawers where I store other products. So I do have all of my Altenew inks in these drawers here, and I have them stacked by color family, because it's easier for me just to grab the whole stack out and use the ones that I need. Most often I'm using a lot of colors from the same family because maybe I'm doing some ink blending or I might be doing some layer stamping. No, they're not color coordinated. I just kind of grab what I need, put it on my desk, and then when it's time to clean up, I just push them out of the way and stick the ones I used back in the drawer. So I have a couple of drawers of those. And again, you can see maybe on top that it's just a bunch of ink, but it's really fun because I love having all the Altenew colors. This drawer, messy, full of what I call basic supplies. So I've got some refills for glue tape. I've got extra black ink. I have my other pigment inks in here. I've got a whole bunch of adhesives. I have another satin masking tape. So anytime I run out of these supplies, I usually have backup ready to go, so I don't have to wait for another shipment to come in from the Altenew warehouse. Here I have some embossing materials, just embossing powders and things like that. and then washi tape. And in addition to the washi tape here, there's like a whole bunch of washi tape over there, and it's not organized either. But I do have a lot of washi tape and I love using all of it. I also have this container underneath my desk, and this is where I keep all of the newest stuff. So upcoming releases, things that I want to create with sooner than later, so it's easily accessible. The other stuff that I have in this room is all stored in alphabetical order. So this is just at least by release, so I know what I have and what I need to use. I do have a tiny itty bitty space heater. I'm cold all the time. But Tasneem, you know that, right? And then on the other side, I have a drawer full of envelopes, a drawer full of paper scraps that I always intend to use and typically forget that I have. And then I have 2 drawers at the bottom for product testing. And these are things that I can't show you right now because it might be some upcoming products that we're testing, or maybe some things that just weren't up to the standard of Altenew that we did not proceed with, and they're just hanging out in a drawer right now. In addition to being my filming studio and my craft room for my paper crafts, I also use this space as a sewing workshop. Sewing is my second hobby, and I love creating outfits and costumes and lots of different things for myself and for my husband. So I have a lot of sewing supplies on the other side of the room. And I love that this is a loft. So when we moved into this apartment, I knew right away that the loft had to be my crafting space. So right on the other side of this wall on the first floor is our living room and dining area. And I just love the open feel that it gives. So when you step up the stairs into this crafting space, I have all of my sewing things and my fabric. I have my sewing machine, and right over here, which I've named Sophia Loren, S-E-W, Sophia, because I love puns. And I also have my serger. I have projects here that are like partially done. So I have them in these bins, and the whole point was that they're accessible so I can easily grab them and finish them. But just like I do with paper crafts, sometimes things get started and they don't get finished right away. But I always like to have storage for partially finished projects. And over on this side, I have some drawers with embroidery thread for my sewing machine, because it also is an embroidery machine. And I have Elizabeth Taylor, and she is my dress form. And I love having a dress form because it makes it easier to create garments for myself, because I can alternate between trying things on my own body and then pinning them also to the dress form, which helps me as I'm sewing. And it's adjustable, so if I'm creating something for a friend, I can just change the dials and it changes the size. I have a fun collection of fabric, and probably more fabric than I even need for the amount of time I have to do my sewing, because it is my second hobby, and everything Altenew related and paper crafting related always comes first. So I don't know what I'm ever going to go through my stash of fabric, but again, just like paper crafts, you want to have access to as much stuff as possible. So now we've reached the last little zone of my crafting loft or crafting space, and part of it is mine and part of it's actually for my husband. So over here, I do have a garment rack, and this is where I keep either recent projects that I've sewn or things that I've bought that need some altering, and some things that just need ironing, because I do have the ironing board and the iron up here in the loft space. So I like having the garment rack so I can just hang things up and I don't forget about them. So I see them and it's like, oh yeah, I should probably iron that. Or, oh yeah, I just need to add a hem to that one garment, or I just need to take it in one little space and then I can go back to wearing it. So I do like to have those projects and garments up here. And lastly, I have this little zone. This corner is where my husband usually sits and reads his comic books while I am crafting. He likes coming up here even on his own and just chilling out with all of his favorite books. And we have a lot of art up here as well. We collect a lot of different comic book prints or originals from different comic artists. So it's really a fun space, and it's so much fun that I was able to take you on this little tour. So Tasneem, it was so much fun getting to give you a tour of my crafting space today. I know it's still a work in progress, which everybody's crafting space probably is, whether you're lucky enough to have a dedicated room like I do, or if it's something where you need to craft on your dining room table or in a corner in your living room, and you need to be able to quickly clean or tidy it up and then set it aside for using that space in multiple ways. So I would love to see your crafting space sometime. So make sure you give me a call, or maybe I'll be calling you back so that I can check out that space.
Thanks so much for showing me your crafting space. Bye.
Bye. Hello crafters, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything. Thanks for watching.